convey to you, in some measure, the pageantry of our political past as it is unfolded on the right man, we have made for you this special recording. You will hear the actual voices of men who have made history in presidential campaigns that span 2 centuries. This priceless recording is part of the collection of political mementos of Mr. J. Doyle DeWitt, president of the Travelers Insurance Companies. Mr. DeWitt's remarkable collection represents 44 presidential campaigns from 1789 to 1960, and it is now on exhibition in Hartford, Connecticut. I hope that you'll be as excited and thrilled as I was when I first heard these voices come back from our vigorous, dynamic past.
1896. William Jennings Bryan, the political messiah, come to lead the Democrats. The scene is the Chicago Convention. The silver tongue cries of a cross of gold.
Mr. Chairman and gentlemen of the convention, I come to speak to you in defense of a cause as holy as the cause of liberty, the cause of humanity. Mr. Carlyle said in 1878 that this was a struggle between the idle holders of idle capital and the struggling masses who produce the wealth and pay the taxes of the country. They tell us that the great cities are in favor of the gold standard. We reply that the great cities rest upon our broad and fertile prairies. Burn down your cities and leave our farms, and your cities will spring up again as if by magic. But destroy our farms, and the grass will grow in the streets of every city of the country. We care not upon what line the battle is fought. If they say bimetallism is good, but that we cannot have it until other nations help us, we reply that instead of having a gold standard, because England has, we will restore bimetallism, and then let England have bimetallism because the United States has. If they dare to come out in the open field and defend the gold standard as a good thing, we will fight them to the uttermost. Having behind us the producing masses of this nation and the world, supported by the commercial interests, the laboring interests, and the toilers everywhere, we will answer their demand for a gold standard by saying to them, you shall not press down upon the brow of labor this crown of thorns. You shall not crucify mankind upon a cross of gold.
The most spellbinding oration in American political history, Bryan hopes perhaps to get the vice presidential nomination. Bound to other candidates, the delegates pause for a few ballots, then stampede to the silver-tongued Nebraskan. (1904), Roosevelt runs to succeed himself. The cause is big business.
Our aim is to control business, not to strangle. And above all, not to continue the policy of make-believe strangle toward big concerns that do evil, and constant menace toward both big and little concerns that do well. Our aim is to promote prosperity and then to see that prosperity is passed around.
TR personifies the particular virtues of his age: confidence, aggressiveness, simple morality, and rugged individualism. For a nation feeling its oats as a world power, Theodore Roosevelt obtains the Panama Canal Zone. At home, he champions the common citizen against big business. Woodrow Wilson, 1916.
I remember reading of a great day in the year 1775, when certain farmers took their guns in their hands and gathered in little groups along the road that led from Lexington in Massachusetts to Boston, and there quietly lay in order to intercept British troops who had come upon an errand aimed at the liberties of the colony. And I've often heard since that day men speak of the embattled farmers at Lexington. Well, there are going to be embattled farmers again in the history of this country, not with guns in their hands, but with ballots in their hands.
For the first time, the populi can hear a convention on the radio. Will Rogers offers his own choice.
The Democrats are the middle-of-the-road party. The Republicans are the straddle-of-the-road party. So I hereby nominate Mr. Henry Ford for president and christen the party the All Over the Road Party.
1928. Prohibition, prosperity, and Roman Catholicism are the issues. Coolidge chooses not to run. Instead, he endorses Herbert Hoover.
There is much that we must not forget. Amid the afterglow of glory and legend, we forget the filth and the stench and the death of the trenches. We forget the dumb grief of mothers, of wives, and of children. We forget the unending blight cast on the world by sacrifice of the flower of every race.
Meeting in Houston, the Democrats claim they are tired of finishing second in a two-horse race.
We offer one who has the will to win, who not only deserves success, but commands it. Victory is his habit. The happy warrior, Alfred E. Smith.
Returning from Europe, a reporter asks Al Smith how he feels to be home.
Well, it's marvelous. After 6 weeks through Italy, France, England, and finally in Ireland, when I saw the United States land in Manhattan come into the harbor at Queenstown with the red, white, and blue smokestacks, I felt happy. Twice as happy to see the Battery, to see the East River and the North River, the Empire State Building and the skyscrapers of Manhattan Island. It's wonderful.
1940, war hysteria foams. Our involvement in it soon sweeps aside the domestic issues. The GOP meet in Philadelphia. The chant is, "We want Willke."
People of America, thank you very much.
(1944), aiming to quickly topple FDR, GOP candidate Thomas E. Dewey bitterly attacks the war policies.
This is a campaign against an administration which was conceived in defeatism, which failed for 8 straight years to restore our domestic economy, which has been the most wasteful, extravagant, and incompetent administration in the history of the nation, and worst of all, one which has lost faith in itself and in the American people.
And the fight soon becomes one of personalities.
These Republican leaders have not been content with attacks on me, or on my wife, or on my sons. No, not content with that. They now include my little dog, Fowler.
1948. The remaining Democrats stand fast with Harry S. Truman of Missouri.
I'm Harry S. Truman. I work for the government, and I'm trying to keep my job. We're out to win this election, and we're going to do that on the 2nd day of November.
(1952). The GOP, longing to return, seek a national hero. They find one in Dwight David Eisenhower.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have summoned me on behalf of millions of your fellow Americans to lead a great crusade for freedom in America and freedom in the world. I know something of the solemn responsibility of leading a crusade. I have led one.
For the Democrats, it's intellectual Governor Adlai Stevenson of Illinois.
Ladies and gentlemen of the convention, my fellow citizens, I accept your nomination and your program.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
1960. The missile gap. civil rights, and a Russian rebuff are the issues that ring in our ears. Los Angeles caters to, by and large, a convention whose results seem preconceived. A slick, smooth-running machine virtually assures Jack Kennedy's nomination.
Let me say first that I accept the nomination of the Democratic Party.
In Chicago, the scene is not much different. Vice President Nixon's equally smooth-running machine assures his nomination to be a foregone conclusion.
100 years ago, Abraham Lincoln was asked, during the dark days of the tragic war between the states, whether he thought God was on his side. His answer was, "My concern is not whether God is on our side, but whether we are on God's side."